Boot it up, lights go green. Controllers ready, enter the scene. From builds to battle, stats to strats, breaking down the games, yeah, imagine that. No safe takes, no reload, every level deeper on the Sean and Zay show. Turn it up, lock it in, match begins, let the talk begin. Sean and Zay, hit play, let's go. Game talk loud on the Sean and Zay show. No pause, no lag, all control. This is game time on the Sean and Zay show. Strap in, squad up, take your seat. Sean and Zay every week.
Hello, all, and welcome back to the Sean and Zay Show. I'm Zay,
And I'm Sean.
and welcome back to Warhammer Wednesdays. Today we will be going over Book 6 of the Horse Heresy, Descent of Angels. And my goodness, we got thrown way off track here in this book. We can just completely abandon the heresy at this point of the book because this is all before we meet the Imperium. What do you think of it, Sean? Like, I want to know your opinions on the book first, I should say.
I loved it. I loved it a lot. I didn't know anything about the Dark Angels before any of this. I didn't know their lore. I didn't even know anything about the Lion himself, other than just the fact that he was the Primarch of the Dark Angels. I think the idea of a planet with chaos infested monsters roaming about it was super good. I don't know if you ever played like Monster Hunter or like any of the Monster Hunter games,
I have.
but that's the feeling and the emotions that I had in regards of it. And it was really, really good. I loved it super dearly,
Yeah,
especially because I love medieval stuff.
Oh yeah, and this is like kind of a mix of medieval and modern because they talk about guns and bolters and whatnot. Because it's still the Imperium. They just have chain swords and whatnot. And
Mhm.
we begin the book with the training or the initiation of Zahir. Sorry, Sean, you want to help me out with that again? What's his name again?
Zariel or Zariel.
Zahariel. That's right. And they're basically explaining the indoctrination project, and we are it's not they're not called the Dark Angels yet, and that's the part that I think is going to confuse most people. Is they're called the Knights of the Order in this book, and the Lion isn't a big player yet. He's not known that he's a Primarch. Like basically nobody knows about the Imperium. They're all just the rumors of Terra. They talk about that in the book about how there's lost tales of Terra and how that. Having a quick brain fart in this one. Let me get my thoughts together. But basically, the whole idea of Terra was a myth on their planet, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And what else? Oh yeah, the initiation process. What did you think of it?
Oh, dude, so fucking cool. It was very well paired with what the planet is. The idea of young boys, because it's like a boys only club. They're thrown outside the gates and they can't move anywhere. They can't like fight anything. They can't even sit or lie down. They just stand there for one night. But that's a long night. That's a long time when you're
Yeah,
outside of castle walls and there's demonic beasts roaming around.
And I don't think you realize that they did this they only recruit in the wintertime, mind you.
Right.
So you're
Right.
standing outside basically in
Barefooted
your
too, by the
underwear.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're basically standing in your underwear
Ugh.
in the snow. And they're right next to, they said, because on this planet, I can't remember.
Caladan. Or
Caliban, yes, that's right. Is a giant world that's covered in trees, right? And in these great forests are beasts of chaos, and they're completely ignorant to it. It's so funny. It's like we kind of figured they were chaos, like beasts or something. I don't think that was ever confirmed in the book, but they are just. I think they are just great. What they say, evolution mishaps or whatnot.
Different
remind me.
characters said different things. Actually, since we're on this topic, I might as well ask the question because there are three random creatures or beings that Zariel comes across in the woods when hunting the lion, the last lion, let it be known, on the planet. And
That was
they
good.
say, yeah, they say that the beast came from chaos, but also other people say different things. Um, and this would actually be a really good question of who do you think these three mythical beings in the woods are? If you don't remember, they're not very
Yep.
nice either. They actually contemplated killing Zahariel
Yep.
because they feared that he might turn to chaos.
hmm I think they were Eldar and hiding. I don't know
I
because they
think
never
so.
because they said they were shrouded. They had their hoods in there or whatever you want to call it, their cowls,
Hmm.
and they all talked similar, but in like hushed tones.
Right.
It was creepy because like he was looking for the lion, the Nemean lion, and he he basically was just wandered into the wrong place and the wrong time, and he got forbidden knowledge he wasn't supposed to get.
Right.
I think the Great Beast are definite. They might be chaos. I hope it's kind of a weird because like they all don't have like a what do you call it, a definitive form. They all look different.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
that's what I think. I think would believe that it would be chaos.
I would agree. Um, what did you think of Zahariel and Nemuel as basically our main characters? Following them, what they do, how they act. Did you see like a good, strong bond? Because if Warhammer is known for one thing, it's known for its great action-packed moments, but also the brotherly bond between characters. Were
And
you
you really,
satisfied with this?
oh, you really feel it through the whole book. It's just the way they hang out together, the way they take stuff seriously too,
The
and not to
competition
mention
was
yeah, the
very nice.
competition. Um, what else? They were even in moments like he said at the party too. It was like we fight and die, but here we celebrate. It's our
Mhm.
traditions.
So
I was
cool.
in some of the you could actually like see in the details of the lion too in Zahariel's fight. It was just mind blowing because it went on for a little while.
Mhm. Yeah.
And behind you, he's fighting like a huge beast that looks like a rock.
Yeah. And he nearly got killed by it too. He ended up in the mouth of the damn thing,
hmm
before he then shot it while inside of his mouth to shoot his heart.
That was exhilarating.
That was so cool.
Anyway, we get to the after all that initiations, and he becomes officially part of the Knights of the Order. War breaks out between
Mm,
the Knights of what was it, Lupus, and the Knights of the Order.
that was exactly what it was. Yes, I'm looking at it right now.
In that book, they actually we get to see, but mind you, Zahariel and Namil are both like teenagers at this point in time. Like they
Mhm.
even said when they caught up to the master of the Knights of Lupus, and they were like, and the talking of the grand plan. What did you think of that for like the Knights of Lupus? What they had going? Do you think you were right in that?
Ah, man, like yes and no, because obviously these beasts are terrible and they need to be wiped out because because of these beasts people are scared, they have to hide behind castle walls, and the idea of what a knight is supposed to be comes from how destructive this planet is on its own inhabitants. But with then the arrival of a certain someone, suddenly all tradition is lost.
hmm
Their idea of innocence is lost. The idea that they are fighting for something holy or righteous, it's all lost to a new ideology that comes steamrolling in. And if it was for the Knights of Lupus, if they actually won or maybe at least like lived long enough, people would have realized that they lost their culture with the new arrival of a certain someone.
hmm
uh,
So after after we get like we're still talking about the war and stuff, but I didn't get to finish the book fully the second time around. So, but while we're right here, please take this moment to like and subscribe if you're having fun in our journey so far.
and it really helps a lot, guys. Do not underestimate it by no means.
mean, I
And
understand
even
we are not the best probably sources of information. We're going over the book series and we're just doing this for fun. So anyway, we
have
get
fun with it. Have fun with it. Tell us like something funny. Tell us your favorite character or why that is your favorite character. Maybe tell us something that we don't know regarding the Dark Angels, or maybe the connection between Big Ol' E himself and his son Lion.
hmm and the fact and just like the mentioning and every time he gets in a scene, he's like, "Oh, I didn't mean to eavesdrop." Like,
Yeah.
oh crap, dude, you knew what you were doing.
So good. I loved Lion, dude. I knew nothing about him before this book, but after it, oof, I fell in love.
It's basically like his lore story.
hmm Yeah.
So I have to remember bits and pieces from, but I don't want to like jump over anything. So when we're after the siege of the castle, they were talking about how that they were the ones actually harboring the great beast, what was left of them, so
Mhm.
that their traditions could thrive on as their knights, as hunters or whatnot.
Right.
And do you think that the Knights Order Lupus was right?
No, no. Despite the fact that I do personally believe heavily in the idea of culture and community and the intertwining between the two, um, sadly, we're talking about man-eating beasts from hell going around slaughtering whole villages in a
hmm
single night. That's not something you joke about. That'd be like letting terrorists run around in the countryside of any nation just because then you can have the honor of taking them down. That's
hmm
not something that you can take lightly. There's a difference between something like a chaos tainted beast and maybe just something like a wolf or a grizzly bear, something that's actually part of the nature of Caliban. Huge difference. Huge difference. Wouldn't you agree?
hmm The other thing is in when Zahil was in the initiation, he kept hearing whispers, promises of power, promises of fortunes echoing from the
Mhm.
woods. So I think that is also another strong case for the chaos, because being ignorant to it is its greatest defense. If you're
Mhm.
ignorant of chaos, it almost never can. I should say never, because people eventually will dig into it. It's human nature to be curious, especially in Warhammer. Everything is so secretive and so forbidden that just a taste of knowledge of anything that is forbidden is going to just drive a person to be fully committed to finding out what that is until it's too late.
Right. I agree. Yeah.
So after the war and like you said, the Great Beast Hunt, they were talking about the angels coming, and that's kind of the part I left off, because they were the Imperium hasn't quite arrived in the book yet. I remember some of that parts, but it's just a little blank between here and there for me. Do you have anything to fill in between there for me?
I do. So, in fact, I could tell you the rest of the book if you want me to lead on.
Just
Um,
just to the part I think where the Imperium is about there. I can't remember, but I remember the ending conversation, which I want to discuss with you because that was awesome.
yes. So the Empire arrives. And I believe it is the custodies who come along, not another Space Marine chapter, because Lion is actually the first son ever recovered, and he is responsible for the first Legion.
I
So
didn't
they
know that
drop
until
down.
today, actually, myself. Is was
Mm,
that the Dark Angels are the first Legion. That
mhm.
every other Space Marine is basically based off them.
Exactly, exactly. It's also why they get all the fun toys and like new tech is because they're
hmm
the first. Um, they come down and they see all the people, and they basically say to them, "Congratulations, everyone! You're gonna be part of our empire! Yay!" And everyone is like a little split at first. Not everyone knows what to think, but the more they hear of the stories of Terra and the more they learn about this so-called emperor of mankind, they all start to immediately falling for it, especially those who are not knights. Those who are not knights, such as, for instance, the guard who was asleep on the castle walls, and then a knight goes up to him and says, "Hey, you should be awake." He was like, No, I don't need to anymore because number one, all the chaos beasts are dead, and number two, the Imperium of Man is here. We get to have new roles. We're no longer your people's servants.
Hmm.
So the knights lose all of their respect and culture, and people come flocking to the Imperium. And with that, also the planet itself starts to experience changes. The Adaptus Mechanicus brought in massive machinery and equipment, terraforming entire mountains, tearing them down to dust and ash and rubble, and maybe just moving it elsewhere. You also got to
I don't
remember
mean to
all.
interrupt you right there, Sean, but I do kind of when you're talking about it, it does remind me of the book, and I do remember those parts, and I just wanted to give my quick opinion and
Oh,
watching
absolutely.
all of that, like listening and visualizing it all in your head, it's absolutely amazing. Like if
Yeah.
you love like I don't know, space fantasy and stuff. Like these books are definitely for you, you if your fans or people, whoever you want to call them. But we'd really greatly appreciate if you went and check them out. They're all on Audible, all the series, except maybe there's one book that is missing from the
And they're
series, which
awesome.
and I can't wait to go over Legion next. But I'm sorry, we'll let you keep going.
Of course. Um, And what's really cool is that when they talk about the Empire coming in, as well as talking about the new technology coming to the Imperium, such as like the giant bulldozers and
Hmm.
tree cutting machines, it starts not as like, oh my gosh, this is horrible, our home is being ripped apart. It actually starts as, look at this technology, look how amazing it is. It's so much more efficient. What would have taken us, like 60 people with axes turned into one guy on one machine in 5 minutes.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
everything is completely different.
yeah. Remember too, in the Imperium, man, everything is scaled up tenfold.
Hmm.
So everything's got to be huge.
Well, obviously, they got to make way for industrialization, and Caliban is ripe for the takings, right?
Yeah, right, but doesn't that just kinda irritate you in a way that every world the Imperium comes across, like, whether it's a lush paradise or whatnot, like, almost there are a few worlds that are in the known universe just to be paradise worlds, um,
Hmm.
but 9 times out of 10, they come across a world, it becomes just an industrial mess.
Industrialized mess. It's very well put. I was just about to say that exact same thing.
People
An
are crammed.
industrialized mess.
Yeah, rather than being spread out, they're all crammed into these giant things called hive cities,
Hmm.
and, there's billions of people per city. Sometimes trillions, like depends on the world size. And
Hmm.
we're getting off topic. We're just discussing a little more, just so our fans and you people get how like big the Imperium actually is. Like to be able to just take a planet, and be like, yeah, industrial planet,
Yep.
or yeah, nature planet. But they do have farming worlds and stuff too, which I'm sad that Caliban just didn't get turned into like maybe like a wood processing world or something like that. That'd be cool. I
Right.
don't know what they
Instead,
would use
it's
wood for.
exactly. Instead, it's just ripped apart, ripped apart for all the resources that possesses. And sadly, Caliban was a very rich planet. And
Yeah, that's the thing though. The Emperor for the Emperor always, but we need the resources.
right, right.
So towards the end of the book, then Sean, like you said, we're talking about like the butchering of the planet and whatnot. And you're discussing the giant dozers and whatnot, tree cutting machines. And like you said, people have never seen this stuff ever. They're basically living in medieval times on the planet for thousands of years. Like no
Mhm.
progress because of the beast too.
Right. And eventually, the Emperor comes along,
Yeah, the
and
big E does come. I was actually shocked in the book when he said, "Do not look upon desire," and the
very,
emperor
very
was
cool.
actually speaking to him
Hmm.
because what confused me though, like, I thought once you hit your teen years, you weren't no longer eligible for the gene seed, or did I have that wrong?
It's not that you can't take it. It's the younger you are, the better it is because actually becoming a space marine, it requires the surgery and then the implantation of the gene seed.
Mhm.
And the older you are, the more likely you are literally just to die. And that's why some characters like Luther, who are too old to get the gene seed nor the surgery, got just a sort of a STEM surgery, one that's very close to the surgery of a
I
space
remember
marine,
that
but
when they
slightly
said
different.
when Luther
Yeah.
was mad about that too. I'm pretty sure he's like,
Yep.
I've just been the
Now he's shorter than everyone.
yeah, he's the shortest man now. It's kind of ironic though because he was, he's I guess he's still technically in charge of them because he's
Mhm.
the lion's second.
Yeah.
As far as I remember in the book, he always got this jealous attitude towards the lion ever so slightly. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
and actually, before I read this book, before I knew anything about like Warhammer and stuff, and I was just getting to know the legions and the factions and stuff like, dude, I want to be a dark angel. That would be cool.
It's super sick. I'm not even gonna
Like I
lie.
like the way they looked and stuff, I think is what it was. And then nowadays in the Warhammer books, I would definitely sorry, I'm a heretic, but I think I would have had to join the Iron War.
Ew. Ew. It's quite
So
alright.
anyway, let's get back on topic. The Big E arrives, right? And
Mhm.
they're talking, and he wants to look, but he can't because
He's at all.
the aura he's given out, the psychic energy or whatever, is
Mhm.
like terrifying to him. So he doesn't want to look upon him. And eventually, he does get the surgery too, which is
Mhm.
awesome because I was like, oh, like don't tell me it's gonna end. And he's just not gonna be a character anymore because it didn't work.
Mhm. Um, Something that was glossed over in our conversation was actually the assassination attempt that would actually led to um
Mm.
um fucking Azrael. No, Zer. Let me look back.
Sorry about this. Like,
Zahario. Oh my
names are hard
goodness.
to remember in these series. Like we've
Well,
said it,
there.
and
Right.
they're hard to pronounce too.
Absolutely. And what doesn't help either is that Zahariel has another person in the Dark Angels whose name is Azrael. Azrael is a separate character. He's the Grand Master of the Dark Angels. So, and I play a game where I play as Azrael. So it's like trying to go back and forth is too much for my human weak brain. But going back to what I was saying, there was an assassination attempt on the emperor. Now it never ended up happening, but because of the capture of Zahariel, because it was suspected that he was in on it,
Mhm.
after actually being the reason why it didn't happen in the first place. This is where then the librarian of the death, no, he was it's not Blood Angels, but it's basically a librarian from one of the other chapters.
Word
They go
bearers,
to
is that it?
maybe I don't remember. I actually have to look back
Because
at it.
you gotta remember at this point in time, the word bearers were not traitors.
No, um, but basically, this is when he was taken in by a librarian, and he was like, "Hang on a minute, you might have psychic powers. We got to explore this now." And that's where Zahariel gets his first ever look into the warp and chaos as a whole. And it's actually something that I believe comes up later, both in the book, but also in the just the overall lore of why people are afraid of Zariel turning the chaos. Is because he has such a profound interest in it. Ever since he was on Caliban and he killed the lion, he was incredibly interested in chaos and what is the powers of the war.
Which is dangerous, dangerous, dangerous exploration, as
Too
Magnus the Red
dangerous.
found out.
Oh, don't remind me. Ugh.
Overall, I think this book solid 7 out of 10. I had to give it a 7 out of 10. Because you can't give a fair rating of 10 out of 10.
No,
Same
especially in
thing.
comparison to the other amazing books as well.
If I were to give my honest opinion, I say Fulgrim was a 10 out of 10. Like I don't think I've ever like had an emotional journey like it was because you grew to love him and stuff without knowing anything hardly about him. And
Mhm.
for him, that one last moment, it's just heart wrenching.
Right, and this was also one of the more shorter books. I think it was on par, if I remember correctly, for how long this
This
book
one
was.
is about
On
10
par with the
hours
second
long.
book. Yeah, 10 hours. Yeah, I wish it was longer. I was a little disappointed with the the
I do
time.
enjoy my long books.
I do as well. I do as well. It
My,
makes that $20 worth it a little bit more.
it is. Yeah, these books are around $20 a piece, and if you catch them on sale, it's even better.
Mm,
You know,
which is like never.
Audible also does offer a subscription too, in case anybody didn't know that. But I don't use it. I prefer to just buy my books.
I agree. I did the same exact thing.
Just one less subscription I got to worry about paying for.
Dear Lord. I mean, Emperor, Lord. Dear Emperor, there you go.
By the throne.
What do you think of the weird planet? Now we're reaching close to the end of the books. You know, we covered the beginning with the bees, the war against the other Night Order, and then, you know, the attempted assassination on the Emperor. Now we're reaching the end one where they
Wait,
fought against what was it? The masked people on the masked planet, whatever that was called. Let me see if I can find that again. Very weird people. Like, and the fact that they just kidnap people using flowers to drug them, and then like they just bring them to an underground mining operation to be like basically experimented on by Chaos.
mhm.
Weird stuff. And then the Chaos demon that they're basically worshiping. Um, weird stuff. And then it enters a woman, and we actually never see what happens next because before what anything could be born from the woman when the demon entered her, um, um, Lazariel kills the woman with her
I do
blessings, of
remember that
course.
part.
And that was actually, I believe, the moment where the lion started becoming more grim because before he was happy, cheerful, you know, hitting kegs together, you know, having a good time. But I think when the lion saw um, um, Zahariel kill the woman, he turns to him and goes, "Why? What were you thinking? Why did you do it?" And all he could go off of was just trust that uh, Z- um, Zahariel had the right intentions. So, what did you think
Yeah,
of all of that? That weird ass planet.
it was whack. I couldn't imagine being stuffed there and forced to be experimented on, and it would be, that's the thing in the Imperium or in the current 40k or pre 40k is everything is always shrouded in mystery, and you'll never get. But things like this do go on in the Imperium. You got your Chaos worshippers or your Gene Stealer worshippers.
Hmm.
All the, but being introduced into Chaos, I think, is just it never fails to make me feel like how much more twisted can they get?
Hmm.
It turns out they can keep going because that's the thing about Chaos, and it's chaotic.
And it's almost like impreventable. It is
Hmm.
endless. You know, whether if I get a paper cut, even if the smallest bit of blood comes from me, or if I have even the smallest bit of hate in my heart for anyone, corn gets fed. If I feel even the smallest bit of pleasures in something that I do, if I feel proud or prideful of myself for doing something,
Slanesh
that
gets
slowly
involved.
feels exactly Slanesh. And you know, the same thing goes for man. I just want a nicer car. Boom, Zeech is being fed. And just the thoughts of these things are what could be what feeds these gods. Now, obviously, you know, a straight up murder of someone feeds corn more directly and
Mm.
better. And, you know,
Don't
actually,
forget, Grandfather Nurgle though. If you're dying of this
at all,
horrible
just
plague,
dying at all.
and he'll
Yeah.
come to you and be like, "I could take your pain away," and you're gonna agree, only to be turned
Wishing you
into
died.
wishing you did die.
Yeah. Because you get turned into an abomination.
So far in the book series, we've seen the fall of Horus, the fall of the Emperor's children. Oops, I should probably back up a little bit. The fall of the Word Bearers and the World Eaters. We know for definitive who the traitors are up to this point in the book series, but like I said, this one completely veered away from the current heresy into before the lion was found by the Imperium, which is a huge important step, I think. And I know you kind of got to take a step back a little bit and you're a little blown off track, but trust me, our fans, it's well worth the story. If you
I
listen or
agree.
read the whole thing, these books are on Games Workshop. I'm pretty sure you can probably find them on Amazon. They're just Google or look up the Horse Heresy series, and they literally pop right up. Anything else to add to today's show, Sean? I think we're about ready to wrap her up here.
No, I think actually we covered all the questions and all of really the topics of the book. I think we did pretty damn well. I mean, what do you think overall? Last part, what did you think of the story? Close to the end, how did you feel? Did you feel like it was a good fulfilled ending?
I felt like I was Zahariel when the Emperor was speaking directly to, like, in the book. I thought I was there. Like, it was like you could like picture it. Like, you couldn't, like, you were leaning on the floor or something like that. But anyway, folks, I think that'll do it for today's show. Please catch us next week. We will go over the book 7 of the Horus Heresy series, Legion, where we will explore the Alpha Legion and their story.
Oh boy.
Screens go dark, matches in, final thoughts before we end. Building battles, wins and fails, every take without the veil. If you missed it, replay. More game talk on the way.
Right,
Sean and Zay, that's a show. Power down, time to go.